In the heart of London stands Highgate Cemetery, a place where the past lingers in every shadow and the air feels thick with secrets. This sprawling Victorian burial ground is more than just a final resting place for the city's departed. It's a hauntingly beautiful labyrinth of crumbling tombs, ivy-draped angels, and winding paths that seem to lead you deeper into another world. Every stone here tells a story, some of love, some of loss, and some of things far stranger. But among these weathered monuments, a particular legend chills the bones of even the bravest visitors. They speak in hushed tones of a ghostly child, her laughter echoing through the mist, her small figure glimpsed darting between the graves. Some say she clutches a worn-out doll, her eyes glinting with mischief, while others claim to have felt a sudden drop in temperature as her presence passes by. As dusk settles and the fog begins to curl around the ancient stones, the cemetery transforms. Shadows stretch and the world feels suspended between reality and something far more mysterious. It's in these twilight hours that the ghost child is said to appear, her laughter weaving through the silence, inviting the living to remember the forgotten. Welcome to Beyond Poksha, where every shadow has a story and some stories refuse to rest. For decades, countless visitors have wandered the winding, ivy-clad paths of Highgate Cemetery, each drawn in by its haunting beauty and the weight of history that seems to hang in the air. The cemetery, with its crumbling Victorian tombs and ancient yew trees, has always been a place of mystery, a place where the past feels startlingly close. Many who come here are not just seeking the famous graves or the Gothic architecture, but are also hoping to experience something otherworldly, and time and again, they report the same chilling phenomenon. As visitors move quietly past the rows of silent gravestones shrouded in early morning fog, a strange feeling often settles over them, an uneasy sense that they are not alone. The air grows colder, and the usual sounds of the city seem to fade away, replaced by an eerie stillness that presses in from all sides. Suddenly, from somewhere among the stones, they hear the unmistakable sound of soft laughter, playful, almost innocent, echoing faintly through the mist. The laughter seems to dance on the air, as if a child is hiding just out of sight, weaving between the gravestones in a game only they can see. Some visitors have even claimed to catch a glimpse of a small shadow darting behind a monument, or to find a forgotten toy resting on a grave that wasn't there before. Startled, the visitors search the shadows, peering behind gravestones and scanning the empty paths. Their hearts race as they call out, hoping for a rational explanation, but the only answer is the lingering echo of laughter, fading into the mist. In that moment, they are left with a chilling realization: something unseen is watching, and the ghostly child of Highgate Cemetery is never far away. As the sun dips below the horizon and dusk settles over Highgate Cemetery, the air grows thick with anticipation. It's at this bewitching hour that some visitors claim to witness something truly extraordinary. Some say they've heard a faint, eerie laughter drifting through the air, soft at first like a distant memory, then growing louder, echoing off the marble angels and crumbling stone. The laughter seems to dance on the wind, sending shivers down the spines of those who hear it. Just as someone gathers the courage to turn and look, hoping to catch another glimpse of the spectral child, he vanishes, disappearing into thin air, leaving behind only silence, the lingering chill of his presence, and the unsettling feeling that they've brushed against something not quite of this world. Witnesses describe the atmosphere as icy cold, a chill that seeps into your bones the moment you step through the cemetery gates. The silence is almost unnatural, broken only by the crunch of frost beneath your feet and the distant caw of a lone crow. There's a heaviness that presses down on the chest, making every breath feel labored. The air is thick, almost suffocating, as if the very essence of the cemetery is alive and watching. Some say it feels as though invisible eyes are following your every move, hidden behind the veil of mist. Many visitors leave convinced they've seen more than just a ghostly apparition. They speak of a shadowy figure that lurks at the edge of vision, always just out of reach. Sometimes glimpsed darting between the gravestones, other times standing perfectly still, watching from the darkness. Some have even reported feeling a cold hand brush against their arm, only to turn and find no one there. As the wind whistles through the ancient trees, some claim to hear faint whispers carried on the breeze, soft, plaintive cries that echo with the sorrow of a child lost in time. Others have found small toys or faded flowers left mysteriously on certain graves as if placed by unseen hands. It's not just a ghost they encounter, but a restless spirit bound to the cemetery itself, forever wandering the shadowy paths of Highgate, searching for peace that never comes. Why is the child still here? What binds his spirit to these ancient moss-covered stones long after the world has forgotten his name? Some say the veil between worlds is thin in places like Highgate, where sorrow lingers in the air and memories cling to every crumbling monument. Perhaps the child's story was never finished, his laughter silenced too soon, his dreams left unfulfilled beneath the cold earth. Was he buried without peace, his tiny soul restless and searching for comfort? Did he long for a mother's embrace or a father's gentle voice echoing through the cold silence of the grave? Some visitors leave toys and flowers hoping to soothe the spirit, but the gifts are always found untouched, as if the child is searching for something more, something that cannot be given by strangers. Or is he drawn back to the land of the dead, compelled to wander these shadowy paths, forever haunting the living with his presence? There are tales of a pale, fleeting figure glimpsed among the gravestones at dusk, and of a child's laughter, soft, distant, and chilling, carried on the wind through the tangled branches. Some claim to have seen tiny footprints in the morning dew leading nowhere, vanishing as suddenly as they appeared. No one truly knows the answer, and perhaps that is what keeps the legend alive, an unanswered question echoing through the mist, inviting us to wonder, to fear, and to remember. Highgate Cemetery is a place where history and mystery intertwine, where every stone tells a story and every shadow seems to whisper secrets from the past. So the next time you wander through London's Highgate Cemetery, listen closely. You might just hear the echoes of bygone eras, the whispers of those who once walked these paths. Perhaps you'll catch the faint sound of laughter drifting between the graves, or spot a fleeting figure darting behind the monument. That laughter you hear may not belong to the living. Some say the ghost child still roams these grounds, searching for companionship, forever playing among the tombstones. Imagine the life stories that ended here, the dreams that were never fulfilled, and the spirits that might still linger, yearning for connection. This is Beyond Poksha. Stay curious and, well, never stop seeking the truth in the shadows. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your mind even more so. Remember, the past is never truly gone. It lingers in places like Highgate, waiting for those who dare to look beyond the surface. But what if the whispers of Highgate Cemetery are more than mere legend? There are those who have walked these grounds under the cover of darkness, keepers of the night tasked with watching over the tombstones long after the sun has set. One such man, a night watchman named Arthur, recounts a chilling encounter that still haunts him to this day. It was a fog-laden evening, the cemetery shrouded in mist so thick even the old angels seemed to fade into the gloom. Arthur's lantern cast a small circle of light, barely illuminating the narrow path ahead. As he made his rounds, a sudden icy breeze swept past, carrying with it the faintest sound, a child's giggle echoing between the tombs. He paused, heart pounding, and strained to listen. There it was again, laughter, high and clear, as if a child played hide and seek among the ancient stones. Arthur called out, but the only answer was silence. He pressed on, each step heavier than the last, until he caught sight of a small pale figure darting behind a crumbling mausoleum. Summoning his courage, Arthur approached. The figure vanished, leaving only a lingering chill and the unmistakable feeling of being watched. That night, Arthur finished his shift with a new respect for the mysteries of Highgate Cemetery, convinced that some stories, no matter how old, refuse to rest in peace. So, if you ever find yourself wandering here after dark, remember Arthur's tale, listen for the laughter and tread carefully, for in Highgate the past is always closer than you think. But Arthur's tale is not the end of our journey through Highgate Cemetery. For every spirit that lingers, there may be another force at play, one that watches over the restless souls. Locals speak of an unseen guardian, a presence that seems to protect the cemetery from those who would disturb its peace. One crisp autumn night, a group of curious teenagers decided to test the legend. Armed with flashlights and bravado, they snuck into Highgate, eager to capture evidence of the supernatural on their phones. As they wandered deeper into the labyrinth of graves, their laughter turned to whispers and whispers to silence. Suddenly, their flashlights flickered, casting eerie shadows that danced on the ancient stone. The air grew colder, and an uneasy feeling settled over the group. One of the teens, a girl named Emily, felt a gentle tug at her sleeve. She turned, expecting to see one of her friends, but found no one there. The tug came again, more insistent this time, pulling her toward an overgrown path. Compelled by a force she couldn't explain, Emily followed, her friends trailing behind her. The path led them to a secluded corner of the cemetery where a large old oak tree stood sentinel over a cluster of graves. Beneath its branches, the air felt different, calmer, almost protective. As they stood there, trying to decipher the strange feeling, a soft, warm light began to emanate from the base of the tree. It illuminated a small, hidden gravestone covered in moss and nearly forgotten by time. Inscribed on the stone was the name Eleanor, and beneath it, the words, "Beloved Guardian of Highgate." The teens felt a profound sense of peace wash over them, as if Eleanor's spirit was assuring them that all was well. They left the cemetery that night, their quest for proof fulfilled in a way they hadn't expected. They spoke of the unseen guardian with reverence, grateful for the gentle guidance that led them safely out of the darkness. So, when you walk through Highgate Cemetery, remember that not all spirits are restless. Some, like Eleanor, may be watching over the sacred ground, ensuring that the secrets of the past remain undisturbed and that those who visit do so with respect and care. As dawn breaks over Highgate Cemetery, the first rays of sunlight filter through the ancient trees, casting long golden shadows across the moss-covered stones. But there are some who say that the true magic of Highgate reveals itself only in these early hours when the world is quiet and the veil between realms is at its thinnest. One such morning, a local groundskeeper named Mr. Hughes began his daily rounds. He was a man of routine, having tended to the cemetery for decades, and he knew every path, every statue, every name etched in stone. Yet, on this particular morning, something felt different. The air was charged with a gentle energy, as if the cemetery itself was holding its breath. As Mr. Hughes moved between the graves, he heard soft whispers, barely audible above the rustle of leaves. At first he thought it was the wind, but the voices grew clearer, gentle, reassuring, and oddly familiar. They seemed to beckon him toward the oldest part of the cemetery, where time itself appeared to stand still. Following the whispers, Mr. Hughes arrived at a cluster of weathered gravestones, their inscriptions nearly lost to the ages. There he noticed fresh wild flowers laid carefully on a grave that had not seen visitors in years. The name was faded, but the gesture was unmistakable, a sign of care, of remembrance. Suddenly the whispers ceased, replaced by a profound silence. In that stillness, Mr. Hughes felt a presence beside him, a comforting warmth that eased the chill of the morning air. He smiled, understanding that the unseen guardian was not alone. The spirits of Highgate, once restless, now found solace in the quiet company of those who remembered them. As the sun climbed higher, Mr. Hughes finished his rounds, carrying with him the memory of that peaceful morning. He knew that Highgate Cemetery was more than just a resting place for the dead. It was a sanctuary where stories linger, where guardians watch, and where every dawn brings the promise of new whispers among the stones. As the day unfolded and the morning mist lifted, Mr. Hughes continued his work, but the memory of the whispers lingered in his thoughts. Later that afternoon, while trimming ivy near a crumbling mausoleum, his spade struck something unusual, a small weathered tin box, hidden beneath a layer of roots and earth. Curious, Mr. Hughes carefully pried open the box. Inside, wrapped in a faded ribbon, was a letter, its paper yellowed with age. The handwriting was elegant, looping gracefully across the page. It was addressed to my beloved Thomas and dated more than a century ago. As Mr. Hughes read the letter, a bittersweet story unfolded. A young woman, separated from her love by circumstance, pouring her heart into words she hoped would one day be found. She spoke of midnight meetings by the angel statue, of whispered promises beneath the yew trees, and of a vow to never forget, no matter how many years passed. With each line, the boundary between past and present seemed to blur. Mr. Hughes could almost hear the echoes of laughter and the rustle of silk dresses along the paths. The letter ended with a simple plea: "Remember me as I remember you." Deeply moved, Mr. Hughes placed the letter atop the grave marked Thomas Whitaker, 1841-1862, brushing away the moss to reveal the name. For the first time in decades, the grave was acknowledged, the love story rekindled. As twilight descended over Highgate Cemetery, a gentle breeze stirred the leaves, and for a fleeting moment, Mr. Hughes sensed a presence, a pair of souls reunited, their love finally remembered. The cemetery, a keeper of secrets and silent witnesses, had shared yet another story, ensuring that even the forgotten are never truly lost. And so Highgate's magic continued, woven through the lives of those who care and the memories that linger long after dawn. As night settled over Highgate Cemetery, Mr. Hughes lingered by Thomas Whitaker's grave, the letter's words echoing in his mind. The world was hushed, save for the soft sigh of wind weaving through the yew trees. With the forgotten letter now resting atop its rightful place, Mr. Hughes felt a quiet responsibility settle upon his shoulders, a promise to remember not just Thomas and his beloved, but all the souls whose stories lay hidden beneath the earth. He reached into his worn satchel and drew out a small notebook, the pages filled with names, dates, and the briefest of histories. It was a personal tradition. Each time he discovered a forgotten headstone or an overgrown plot, he would write down what little he could learn. Tonight, by the faint glow of his lantern, he added a new entry. 2 names bound by love and time, their story now a part of his own. As he closed the notebook, a sudden sense of peace washed over him. It was as if the cemetery itself acknowledged his efforts, the air growing lighter, the shadows less foreboding. Mr. Hughes glanced over his shoulder and for a heartbeat thought he saw 2 figures standing beneath the angel statue, one in a pale dress, the other in a dark coat, hands entwined, faces aglow with gratitude. He blinked and the vision faded, replaced by the familiar silhouettes of headstones and trees, yet the feeling remained, a warmth that lingered in his chest, an unspoken promise that the stories of Highgate would not be lost to time. With a final look at Thomas's grave, Mr. Hughes whispered, "You are remembered." Turning away, he walked the winding path toward the cemetery gates, his lantern casting a golden pool of light. Behind him, the leaves rustled in gentle applause, and the ancient stones stood witness to another chapter added to Highgate's living memory, a testament to the power of remembrance and the quiet magic that endures when we choose to care. Long after Mr. Hughes had vanished into the night, Highgate Cemetery seemed to hold its breath. Between the mossy stones and tangled roots, a gentle hush prevailed, a silence filled not with emptiness, but with the quiet resonance of all that had transpired. As a Mimu Diri drifted behind Dean, like a veil of clouds, a faint shimmer, Timo danced along the path he had walked, as if memories themselves were swirling in the mist. In the oldest corner of the cemetery, where time had softened even the sharpest carvings, a robin perched atop a weathered cross, its bright eyes scanning the darkness. It sang a single wavering note that echoed through the trees, an offering to the souls resting below. Down beneath the earth, stories long forgotten stirred gently, awakened by the night's kindness. Unseen by mortal eyes, the spirits of Highgate gathered in silent vigil. Some lingered by their own gravestones, while others wandered, drawn to the warmth left behind by the keeper's promise. The air shimmered with their gratitude, a tapestry of voices, laughter, and whispered farewells woven into the very fabric of the cemetery. And as dawn crept over the horizon, the golden light touched every stone, every blade of dew-laden grass. The robin's song grew stronger, joined by the chorus of waking birds. Highgate Cemetery, so often cloaked in sorrow and shadow, seemed to breathe anew. The echoes of love, loss, and remembrance would remain, held safe by the vigilant keeper and the gentle spirits who watched over their resting place. For in Highgate no story was ever truly lost. Each memory lingered, waiting to be discovered, cherished, and passed on. And so, the cemetery endured, not as a place of endings, but as a sanctuary of stories, whispering to all who care to listen, "Remember us, and we shall never fade." As the first rays of sunlight spilled across Highgate Cemetery, something remarkable unfolded in the quiet aftermath. Along the winding paths, glistening footprints appeared in the morning dew, tiny, delicate, as if left by a child's bare feet. No living soul had yet entered the grounds, yet these prints traced a journey from the oldest crypts to the sunlit arches near the gates. The groundskeeper, returning at dawn, paused in wonder at the sight. He knelt beside the footprints, his breath catching as he remembered the stories he'd heard, the tales of the ghost child, the pale boy, and the unseen guardian who watched over them all. With gentle reverence, he followed the trail, each step a silent conversation between past and present. As he walked, the cemetery seemed to come alive in the golden light. Shadows retreated and ancient headstones glowed softly, their inscriptions clearer than ever before. The robin fluttered from cross to cross, guiding the keeper with his cheerful song. It was as if the spirits themselves had chosen to reveal a hidden path, a bridge between their world and his. At the trail's end, beneath a sprawling yew tree, the footprints simply vanished. The keeper stood still, feeling the hush settle around him. In that moment, he understood the stories of Highgate were not meant to haunt but to heal. Each spirit's journey, each lingering memory was a reminder that love and hope endure beyond the veil of time. With a gentle smile, the keeper bowed his head and whispered a promise to the morning air. The cemetery, warmed by sunlight and song, embraced the new day. And somewhere just beyond sight, the gentle laughter of a child echoed, soft, joyful, and at peace. Highgate Cemetery, ever watchful, welcomed another chapter in its living tapestry of stories. For every dawn brought new footprints, new memories, and the enduring comfort that no one there was ever truly alone. But the story of Highgate Cemetery did not rest with the fading footprints alone. Tucked away in a weathered cottage on the cemetery's edge, the keeper kept a secret. A journal, bound in cracked leather, filled with years of careful notes and whispered wonders. Each morning after his rounds, he would sit by his window, sunlight streaming through lace curtains, and record the mysteries he had witnessed. He wrote of the ghost child's gentle laughter, of fleeting shadows that seemed to dance just beyond the reach of dawn. He described the robin's uncanny guidance and the way the old yew tree seemed to guard its secrets with ancient watchful patience. Some entries were sketches, a child's handprint, a trail of dew, the silhouette of a pale boy beneath the moon. Others were questions scribbled in hope that answers might someday emerge. Why do the spirits linger? What binds them to this earth, and what message do they wish to share? As the pages filled, the journal became more than a collection of stories. It was a bridge connecting the keeper to the unseen world around him. He realized that his role was not merely to tend the graves, but to bear witness to the love and longing that echoed through the stones. In quiet moments, he would read his words aloud, offering comfort not just to the departed, but to himself and the living visitors who came seeking peace. Sometimes, on cool, misty mornings, he would leave the journal open on his windowsill, letting the breeze turn the pages, and every so often he would find a new entry, written in a delicate, unfamiliar hand, telling of dreams, of forgiveness, of hope. The keeper smiled at these gifts, knowing he was not alone in his watch. Highgate's secrets, cherished in ink and memory, would endure, and as long as the keeper wrote, the stories would continue to bloom quietly, faithfully, in the heart of the cemetery and in the hearts of all who listened. As twilight settled over Highgate Cemetery, the keeper performed his nightly ritual, lighting a single lantern and walking the winding paths between the graves. The flame cast golden halos on mossy stones, flickering like a heartbeat in the encroaching dusk. With each step, memories gathered around him, laughter echoing from unseen corners, the scent of wild roses blooming where no gardener had sown them, and the hush of stories waiting to be told. On this particular evening, the keeper paused at the oldest part of the cemetery where time seemed to slow. He set the lantern down at the foot of a weathered angel statue, its face softened by centuries of rain. The light danced across the angel's features, illuminating a name almost faded from the world. As he knelt, the air shimmered, and the faintest sound reached his ears, a child's giggle, impossibly close. The keeper smiled, heart full of gentle ache and wonder. He whispered a promise into the night, vowing to remember every tale, every fleeting moment. In that instant, the lantern's glow brightened, casting a warm circle of light that lingered long after he stood and walked away. When dawn arrived, the lantern was cold, but its light had left a trace, a path of hope winding through the cemetery, guiding the living and the lost alike. And so, with each new day, the keeper's vigil continued, his lantern ready to illuminate the story that would never fade. As midnight crept silently across Highgate Cemetery, a hush fell deeper than any before. The keeper, unable to sleep, returned to the moonlit paths, lantern in hand. Shadows stretched long and thin, mingling with ancient yew trees and crumbling headstones. Tonight the air seemed charged with anticipation, as if the cemetery itself was holding its breath. He walked slowly, boots crunching softly on the dew-soaked grass, pausing at the graves that whispered most insistently. Here a faded locket glimmered atop a child's stone. There a single wildflower had rooted where none had grown for years. The keeper touched each marker with reverence, tracing names with his fingertips, murmuring words of comfort to the restless souls. As the clock in the distant chapel tower struck one, a gentle breeze stirred, carrying with it the unmistakable scent of lilacs. The keeper followed, drawn to the heart of the cemetery, where the oldest tree stood sentinel. In the hush he heard it again, a child's giggle, soft and bright, echoing through the branches. He paused beneath a sprawling oak, heart pounding not with fear but with hope. From the shadows emerged a faint silvery outline, a child's form, eyes shining with curiosity. The keeper knelt, setting his lantern between them. In that sacred circle of light, time seemed to stop. He spoke softly, sharing tales of kindness, of remembrance, of love that endures even beyond the grave. The ghost child listened, eyes alight, and as dawn's first rays crept over the stones, she smiled, a promise of peace at last. The keeper watched as her spirit faded gently into the morning mist, leaving behind a sense of calm and quiet joy. With the lantern's glow now spent, the keeper stood, shoulders lighter than before. He knew that every midnight vigil, every whispered story helped guide lost souls home. And as he walked back through the waking cemetery, the world felt a little brighter. Each stone, each memory illuminated by the keeper's unwavering light. As the morning haze lingered over Highgate Cemetery, the keeper returned to his small stone cottage at the edge of the grounds. Sleep eluded him, replaced by a sense of purpose that had grown with each midnight vigil. He set his empty lantern on the windowsill and opened a worn wooden box, nestled among faded photographs and yellowed letters. Inside, he found a delicate silver charm. A tiny angel, its wings outstretched, once belonging to the ghost child whose spirit had finally found peace. With careful hands, the keeper polished the charm, breathing life into its gentle shine. He remembered the child's laughter, the bright echo that had broken through centuries of silence. That morning he made a quiet decision to honor not just the ghost child but every soul resting beneath the ancient trees. He spent his day weaving fresh garlands from wild flowers found among the graves, placing them lovingly atop forgotten stones. At each marker he left a token, a pebble, a bloom, a whispered blessing, reminders that nobody is truly forgotten, not while memory and kindness endure. As dusk approached, visitors wandered between the headstones, pausing to admire the keeper's etuse handiwork. Some left their own offerings, inspired by the quiet beauty of remembrance. The cemetery became a tapestry of love and memory, each token a promise kept. And as twilight settled, the keeper returned to the heart of the cemetery, placing the silver angel on the child's grave. The wind stirred, carrying the scent of lilacs and the sound of distant laughter. In that moment, the keeper understood. His gift was not just comfort for the lost, but hope for the living, a gentle reminder that light once kindled can never truly fade. That night, after his long day of remembrance, the keeper drifted into a deep, untroubled sleep. As the moonlight spilled through the cottage window, he found himself wandering the shadowy paths of Highgate Cemetery in a dream. But this was not the cemetery of waking hours, it was awash in a silvery glow, every stone and tree shimmering with ethereal light. He walked along familiar trails, guided by the faint chiming of laughter and the flutter of angel wings. The air was filled with the scents of lilac and wild rose, blending with the peaceful hush of the midnight garden. As he passed, the graves he had tended began to stir. Spirits, gentle and luminous, rose from the earth. Children and elders, friends and strangers, all drawn together by the keeper's acts of kindness. The ghost child appeared before him, her eyes bright and grateful. She took his hand, leading him deeper into the glowing heart of the cemetery. There, beneath the ancient yew, a gathering had formed, a luminous congregation of souls, each holding a token he had left, garlands, pebbles, flowers, and whispered blessings. Their voices joined in a soft chorus, thanking the keeper for seeing them, for remembering. In this dreamscape, the keeper realized the true power of his gift. Every act of remembrance, no matter how small, created ripples that bridged the worlds of the living and the dead. Kindness, he understood, was a light that could guide even the most restless spirit home. As dawn crept into the sky, the dream began to fade. The spirit smiled and vanished into the morning mist, leaving the keeper with a heart full of peace. When he awoke, the silver angel on his bedside gleamed brighter than ever, a silent promise that the bonds of memory and love are never broken. And so, the keeper's dream became his new purpose, to tend not just to the graves but to the invisible threads that connect every soul, living or lost, in the gentle tapestry of remembrance. As the first golden rays of morning filtered through the mist, the keeper sat quietly on the edge of his bed, the memory of his dream lingering like a fragrant wisp in the air. He gazed at the silver angel, now glinting with the promise of a new day. The dream had not faded with the dawn. Instead, it had etched itself into his heart, guiding his every thought as he prepared for his daily rounds. Stepping outside, the cemetery seemed somehow transformed. The dew-laden grass sparkled, and the old stones stood proud, bathed in the gentle embrace of morning light. The keeper breathed deeply, feeling the weight of his purpose settle comfortably upon his shoulders. Each step he took was deliberate, each pause at a grave marked by silent vow to remember, to honor, to care. He moved from plot to plot, brushing away fallen leaves, writing a toppled flower, tracing names with a reverent hand. With every act, he whispered stories into the morning air, memories of laughter, tales of love, fragments of dreams once cherished by those who now slumbered beneath the earth. His voice was soft, but the spirits seemed to listen, the air humming with a quiet gratitude. At the heart of the cemetery, beneath the ancient yew, he paused. The memory of the ghost child's hand in his own brought a gentle smile to his lips. He knelt, leaving a fresh garland woven from wild flowers, his own small token of remembrance. As he rose, a sudden breeze stirred the branches overhead, scattering petals like confetti. In that moment, the keeper felt the invisible threads of connection shimmer and tighten, binding past and present, the living and the lost. The world outside the cemetery bustled with the noise of daily life, but within these gates, time seemed to slow, every heartbeat a tribute to those who came before. The keeper's resolve was clear. He would continue his vigil, nurturing the bonds of memory with unwavering kindness. For he now knew that every gentle act, every whispered word, helped keep the light of remembrance burning, guiding spirits home and ensuring that no soul was ever truly forgotten. As the sun climbed higher, the keeper straightened, his eyes bright with hope. Today, as every day, he would carry the dream forward, weaving new threads into the tapestry of remembrance, one quiet kindness at a time. As the morning deepened and the keeper made his way along the winding path, he paused at the edge of the oldest section of the cemetery. There, beneath the shade of a sprawling oak, stood a figure he had never seen before, a stranger cloaked in a long dark coat, his face obscured by the rim of a weathered hat. The keeper approached with quiet curiosity, his footsteps muffled by the damp grass. The stranger knelt before a forgotten headstone, his hands trembling as he traced the faded letters. For a long moment neither spoke. The air was thick with unspoken sorrow, the hush broken only by the distant call of a mourning dove. Finally the keeper spoke, his voice gentle and inviting. "Is there someone you're looking for?" The stranger glanced up, his eyes brimming with tears. "My brother," he whispered. "I haven't been here in years. I thought he'd be forgotten." The keeper shook his head, offering a comforting smile. "No one is forgotten here. Every soul is remembered, every story cherished." He knelt beside the stranger, brushing away the moss from the carved name. Together they placed a wild flower on the grave, the silence between them filled with understanding. As the sun warmed the earth, the stranger shared stories of his brother. Childhood adventures, whispered secrets, dreams never fulfilled. The keeper listened with reverence, his presence a quiet anchor in the sea of memory. For a while time seemed to pause, holding space for grief and gratitude alike. When the stranger finally rose to leave, his shoulders seemed lighter. He thanked the keeper, his voice steadier now. "Thank you for remembering Hisemisham." He said. The keeper nodded, watching as the stranger disappeared down the path, hope flickering in his wake. Alone once more, the keeper lingered by the grave, a silent promise on his lips to remember, to honor, to care. And as the morning breeze stirred the branches overhead, the keeper knew that every encounter, every story shared was a thread in the tapestry he guarded. With each connection, the light of remembrance grew stronger, shining ever brighter within the hallowed grounds of Highgate Cemetery. As the keeper stood beneath the ancient oak, the memory of the stranger's visit lingered like mist in the morning sun. He retraced his steps along the winding path, each footfall stirring echoes of stories long buried within the earth. The keeper's mind wandered back to his early days at Highgate, when every shadow seemed menacing and every rustle in the grass set his heart racing. He remembered the first time he had felt the presence of the cemetery spirits. A faint whisper in the twilight, a fleeting glimpse of movement beyond the mausoleums. Over the years, fear gave way to familiarity, and the keeper learned to listen to the wind, to the trees, to the silent voices yearning to be heard. That morning, as he walked past weathered stones and tangled ivy, the keeper paused beside a grave he had tended for decades. He knelt and brushed away the fallen leaves, revealing a name nearly lost to time. In that quiet moment, he recalled the stories left behind, love letters hidden in the roots of a yew, a child's marble tucked beside a headstone, a faded photograph pressed between two stones. The keeper understood that every visitor, living or spectral, carried their own shadows, echoes of grief, hope, and longing. He had become more than a guardian of graves. He was a keeper of memories, a silent witness to the cycles of loss and healing. As he rose, a gentle breeze stirred the branches overhead, carrying with it the laughter of children, the tears of lovers, the solemn prayers of those who came seeking peace. The keeper smiled softly, knowing the cemetery was not just a resting place for the departed, but a sanctuary for the living, a place where the shadows of the past could find light, and every story, no matter how small, would be remembered. With a renewed sense of purpose, the keeper continued his morning rounds, each step weaving new threads into the ever-growing tapestry of Highgate's legacy. That afternoon, as the sun dipped behind the spires of Highgate, the keeper found himself drawn to a secluded corner of the cemetery, a place seldom visited, where wildflowers grew unchecked and the stones leaned together in quiet companionship. Here, the air felt different, carrying a hush that invited contemplation. The keeper paused before a weathered angel statue, her face worn smooth by centuries of wind and rain. He set down his lantern, its warm glow flickering against the encroaching dusk. With careful hands, the keeper traced the lines of the inscription, barely legible beneath layers of moss. He spoke softly, his words meant for no living ear. "I wonder who you waited for all those years ago. Did they ever return?" His voice mingled with the rustle of grass, the distant call of a blackbird. In this place, the boundary between worlds felt thin, memories drifting like mist, seeking solace in the living. As the keeper sat in silence, he imagined the stories the angel had witnessed, tearful farewells beneath stormy skies, whispered promises at dawn, children weaving garlands for forgotten graves. Each tale left its mark, a subtle presence in the cool evening air. The keeper listened, not with his ears, but with his heart, feeling the weight of unspoken words and unfinished journeys. A sudden breeze stirred the branches overhead, scattering petals across the earth. The keeper smiled, sensing a quiet response from the stone angel, a gratitude for being remembered, for having her story gently awakened by a kind soul. As twilight deepened, the keeper rose, his heart lighter than before. He understood that even in silence the departed spoke, and by listening he honored not just their memory but the enduring connection between past and present. The keeper resumed his rounds, lantern in hand, carrying with him the silent conversation. A reminder that in the hush of Highgate, every soul, no matter how long forgotten, still yearns to be heard. Later that night, as the moon cast its pale light over the cemetery's winding paths, the keeper felt an unshakable urge to revisit the secluded corner where the angel stood. The air had grown cooler, thick with the scent of damp earth and wildflowers. Shadows stretched long across the graves, their shapes shifting with every flutter of the lantern's flame. Drawn by intuition, the keeper knelt beside the angel once more, his gloved fingers brushing aside a patch of moss at the base of the statue. There, almost hidden beneath tangled roots, he discovered a small, weathered box, its surface etched with delicate patterns faded by time. Heart pounding, he carefully lifted the box, feeling the weight of secrets long kept from the world. With a gentle click, the lid opened to reveal a handful of mementos, a faded ribbon, a child's wooden toy, and a yellowed note folded with trembling care. The keeper unfolded the note, its ink barely legible in the lantern's glow. The words spoke of love and loss, of a promise made beneath the very angel that watched over him now. It was a message from a mother to her lost child, penned in hope that somehow her words would cross the divide between worlds. Moved by the discovery, the keeper's thoughts turned to all the stories buried beneath Highgate's ancient soil. How many messages had been sent, how many answered? In the moonlit silence, he felt the presence of those who had come before, families united by grief, bound by love that even death could not erase. As the keeper gently returned the box to its resting place, he whispered a vow to remember these hidden histories, to honor the silent voices that lingered in the shadows. With every step he took through the cemetery's moonlit paths, he carried with him not just the weight of memory, but the promise to keep listening, to keep searching for the stories waiting to be found. Long after the box was returned to its secret resting place, the keeper found himself unable to sleep. In the quiet hours before dawn, he sat alone on a weathered bench beneath a canopy of ancient yews, the lantern's glow flickering softly at his feet. The night air was thick with memory, every whisper of wind carrying echoes of footsteps from ages past. As he gazed across the moonlit graves, the keeper's mind wandered back to tales he'd heard, whispered between the stones, and forward to mysteries yet uncovered. He imagined the mother who'd written the letter, her heart heavy with longing as she penned her final words. He pictured her visiting the angel, hoping that the spirit of her child would find solace in the gentle stone embrace. The keeper's reverie deepened, and in his mind's eye the cemetery transformed. Shadows danced into fleeting shapes, children laughing, lovers embracing, families gathering one last time. The boundaries between past and present seemed to blur, and for a moment the keeper felt as though he was standing at the crossroads of all their stories. A sudden breeze stirred the leaves above, and the keeper closed his eyes, letting the sounds and scents of the night wash over him. He wondered if, somewhere in the hush, the lost child's spirit lingered, comforted by the mother's words and the keeper's promise. Opening his eyes, the keeper resolved to remain vigilant, to listen not just for the living, but for the voices that dwelled in silence. For as long as he watched over Highgate's resting souls, their stories would not be forgotten. In the heart of the night, beneath the watchful angel, the keeper's midnight reverie became a silent pledge to honor the past, to cherish the present, and to await the dawn when new stories would be written among the stones. As the first pale light of dawn crept across Highgate Cemetery, the keeper rose from the bench, his heart still echoing with the night's memories. The mist clung low to the ground, weaving between the headstones like the lingering presence of dreams not yet faded. He walked the familiar path, each footstep muffled by dew, his lantern now dim against the growing glow of morning. With careful hands, the keeper paused by the statue of the angel, the silent guardian of so many secrets. He reached out, brushing a stray leaf from the angel's marble wing. In the hush, he recalled the letter he had found, its words etched into his memory. It was not just a message from a grieving mother, but a bridge between the living and the lost. A reminder that love could reach across even the deepest divides. The keeper knelt and whispered a quiet greeting to the pale boy whose story had haunted these grounds for generations. He spoke softly, promising once again to watch over the resting souls and to welcome the new dawn with hope rather than sorrow. As the sun's rays broke through the trees, casting golden patterns on ancient stones, the keeper felt a gentle warmth in his chest, a sense that for this moment both the living and the departed found peace together. He stood, lantern in hand, ready to greet the day. The cemetery, once shrouded in shadow, now shimmered with the promise of new stories waiting to unfold. And as the keeper resumed his watch, he knew that every dawn brought another chance to honor the past, protect the present, and guide the lost gently home. As the sun climbed higher, bathing Highgate Cemetery in warm midday light, the keeper found a moment of quiet beneath the sprawling branches of an ancient yew. He settled onto a mossy stone, his eyes tracing the lines of weathered epitaphs and the delicate patterns of ivy curling around forgotten names. The world beyond the cemetery's gates seemed distant here, muted by the soft hum of bees and the gentle rustle of leaves overhead. In this hush, the keeper opened his leather-bound journal, its pages filled with sketches of the stones, stories passed down by elders, and his own musings on the mysteries that lingered in the air. He paused, pen in hand, reflecting on the encounters of the long night, the whispers in the mist, the fleeting glimpse of the pale boy, the comfort found in honoring a letter from the past. With careful strokes, he wrote of the peace that dawn had brought and of the hope that seemed to grow stronger with every promise kept. The keeper's words flowed like the morning breeze, gentle, steady, and full of quiet faith. He wondered if the spirits sensed his devotion, if the souls at the rest found solace in his daily vigil. As a distant church bell chimed marking the hour, the keeper closed his journal and looked around once more. Highgate's beauty was not just in its shadows or its secrets, he realized, but in the way each day offered a chance for remembrance and renewal. Rising to his feet, he felt the weight of solitude lift, replaced by a profound connection to history, to hope, and to the silent company of those who came before. With a final glance at the sun-dappled stones, the keeper resumed his gentle patrol, his heart open to whatever stories the next hour might reveal. As the afternoon sun filtered through the leafy canopy, casting shifting patterns across the weathered graves, the keeper's path led him toward the oldest part of Highgate Cemetery, a secluded section seldom visited where time seemed to slow and the air shimmered with memory. Here, ivy draped over crumbling obelisks, and the names carved into ancient stones were nearly lost to moss and lichen. It was here, amid the hush, that the keeper noticed a faint disturbance, a single white feather resting atop a child's grave, its edges ruffled as if placed there by unseen hands. Drawn by a quiet curiosity, he knelt beside the stone, tracing the faded inscription with gentle fingers. The feather seemed impossibly fresh, untouched by the morning's dew or the gathering dust of years. As he lingered, a sudden breeze stirred the trees overhead, carrying with it the distant sound of children's laughter, soft, fleeting, and unmistakably real. The keeper glanced around, but the cemetery remained empty, the only movement the fluttering of the feather in his palm. He closed his eyes, allowing the moment to wash over him. In that stillness, he felt the boundary between past and present blur, as if the spirits of Highgate were reaching out, not to haunt, but to remind him that every act of remembrance breathes new life into forgotten stories. The feather, delicate and bright against the somber stone, became a symbol of hope and connection, a silent promise that the lost are never truly alone. With a renewed sense of purpose, the keeper placed the feather gently back on the grave, whispering a vow to honor not just the well-remembered but also those whose names had faded with time. As he stood and continued his rounds, the sun broke through the clouds, illuminating the path ahead and filling the afternoon with a quiet, enduring light.